Recently I turboed the Civic and I've done anything possible to make this functional. But now that the tune is finished, the car looks very ugly. There's messy wires, greasy fingerprints, and all sorts of things that make this engine bay ugly. So we're gonna try to clean up this engine bay on a budget, but can we actually do it?
Not only we're gonna make the engine bay a lot cleaner, but also upgrade a few things to add some performance to the Turbo Civic. And one of the things I'll give you guys a hint, look at that. Big thanks to Davey at DC Fry Creations. We're gonna make the engine bay cleaner. We're gonna vent out some of the crankcase pressure with this oil catch can. Just to give you guys an idea of how it's gonna look, we are gonna bolt it on.
But in order to make this catch can work, we do need something else.
Well, here is the bad boy right here. It goes right over the oil cap. Put your new cap on, and that's where you could run your 10 AN lines without no welding. Just wanna show you guys, look, it's the same thread pitch.
But before we install these new fancy parts, we do need to clean up the engine bay to complement each other. The first thing I did was clean off all the grease in the engine bay because it looked nasty. The times I worked on the car was too many to count. I went ahead and used some glass cleaner and started wiping away. Several wipes later, it was finally time to do the first restoration, which was the fuse box cover. I bought this sticker on eBay for $30. It was pretty expensive, but definitely a major difference. I am bummed that the sticker is faded. I don't know if it's because I bought a rep sticker off eBay, but the next thing to restore was this brake booster. The engine bay was originally blue and I painted with white spray cans, and because of that, there is a lot of white overspray all over the booster. I called a friend for help because I was struggling. A few hours later, we eventually got it out.
Okay. Ooh, she's a leaker.
I removed the distributor because I wanted to repaint it, and also it was leaking a lot of oil. The distributor really became a pain in the butt, but stick around on the video for that.
Dang, is that one that tight? Holy sh**.
My camera died while I was repainting the brake booster. You could see it's finally fully black.
So much better. Now we did scuff it a little bit right here when we try to put it in, and that's because it's already tight enough in this area. It was hitting the manifold and then the brake lines, which scraped off the paint. We are upgrading the vacuum line on the brake booster. I still need to put the fitting on here, just like how it is I did on the Skunk 2 manifold. Now that our AN line is finished, we're gonna put it on this. Now I know it wasn't much, but we still have a long ways to go. Next, we are gonna redo this valve cover. It's seen better days. I feel like painting the valve cover the same color as the Brembos is gonna look real proper. A bug got on it, unfortunately, and yeah, I rubbed it and I think it made it a little worse. Some parts it still had like leftover old black wrinkle paint. Next up, we are gonna clean up this cowl because it does have overspray from when I painted the engine bay. It's a little dirty, but for some reason, some of the dirt is not coming off, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Mask off this whole entire outer cowl and then mask off this so that way it doesn't get overspray anywhere. Since the valve cover is pretty dry to the touch, I am gonna shave the Honda emblem on here. For a rattle can job, I don't think it turned out too bad. These are blue because the engine bay was painted blue back in the days. It has like white overspray from me. We're just gonna replace this. Looks so much better and saves a lot of time too. 15-20 bucks on eBay.
Now that the cowl was looking proper, it was time to paint the actual cowl itself. In the past I was lazy to mask this off, hence why there's a lot of white overspray on it, but this time I'm gonna do it proper since the cowl's already off. I'm not gonna lie, the cowl looks better on camera than it does in person. I used the improper sandpaper and actually didn't turn out smooth as I thought. But we still gotta keep moving forward and move on to the next thing.
Before we put the new valve cover on, we do need to put some new seals. The head is pretty clean now. Now it's time to slap on the valve cover.
For the longest time, I never ran a cam cover just because I was fixing timing issues. But now that the timing is all said and done, I bought a clear cover to show off that little cam gear. It's crazy how a cam and valve cover can make a huge difference, especially when it's a different color. I'm not gonna lie, taking the stuff off, repainting them, and putting it back together is a lot of work. You can see in the video my energy is depleted, so I took some rest and started up the next day.
It's the next day and engine bay is getting closer and closer to getting cleaner. Next thing I will do is remove the throttle body, paint that all black so that way it can match between the intercooler piping and the manifold. We do need to clean up the wiring because that is definitely going to make the biggest difference. Clean up the power steering pump and then the power steering bracket, make that black too, so that way it just blends in a lot better. Blacking out the manifold will just tie this whole engine bay together, especially when I wire tuck it. Let me know if this is important. Before we added the turbo on the car, it still ran fine without this. Almost everything's off. Just need to take the manifold now and then repaint this.
Since we're already in the engine bay, I do need to fix my reverse switch. Sometimes the light would come on and not, so it was better off to replace it. Plus, it was only $15 on Amazon.
Pretty simple. It was only a 19 mil oil pusher line right here. Because I'm tucking it under the radiator hose, it's not reaching far enough in order to plug it in. We do need to cut this and extend it. All right. Boom. This is probably the most tedious part, making it look nice, cutting wires, soldering it, and organizing a couple things, but hopefully in the end, it'll look good.
While doing the wiring, I did multitask on the side to paint all the components black. Since they were silver from factory or aftermarket, it was time to black it all out so that way it could fit in with the theme.
And plus, previously I had overspray on the top, so it didn't look that good.
I feel like painting these small components make a big difference because I feel like every small detail will add up to the overall look. I'm not gonna lie, it's taking a lot of labor just to take off these parts and put it back in, but it's definitely worth it. The next thing on the list was deleting the vacuum line that connects to the breather box. It's basically like an OEM catch can, but instead of benefiting you, it recycles all the oil back into the intake manifold, which could gunk it up and reduce performance. In order to replace this box with an AM fitting, I hit up Honda Civic for their crankcase fittings, because with this, we can run the lines all the way back to the catch can, filtering out the system a lot better and relieving that crankcase pressure. The block fitting is super affordable, retailing at $35. So in order to make this all work, I used some bull boost fittings and AM lines in order to connect this all together. I had to make a trip to O'Reilly's because the nut on the vent too big of a socket. Once the 10A lines were connected, it was time to clean up the harness that goes to the fan relay. I originally never cleaned this up because it was 100 degrees outside. Now that it's getting colder, it's finally time to tackle it. Another small detail that would make a difference is the coupling on the intercooler pipe. The coupler was originally orange just because I bought a random one off eBay, but since we're color coordinating with this engine bay, I would rather have it black. It was a good thing that we're touching up this engine bay because I noticed there was a hole in my boost controller wire. If there's a hole in the line, the controller can't read the amount of boost it needs for the turbo. The next thing I ordered was these spoon socks. Essentially, they're just fabric that goes over the reservoir. If you ever overfill or if there's any fluid that comes out, the sock will catch it. There's a lot of blue blemishes all over the engine bay just from working on the car or having a poor respray job. So I bought some touch-up paint from O'Reilly's. As much as I want to repaint the engine bay, I just don't have time for that and it's pretty intense labor.
Next, I bought these vacuum plugs that you can find at any O'Reilly's or AutoZone. Some of the ports that I don't need that are plugged off. We're gonna see if any of these plugs work and then we'll probably just zip tie the same way, but it'll just be black instead of like green or like yellow. Knowing my luck, who knows, maybe none of them might work. It should stretch over time. Boom. The vacuum lines where it goes to the manifold is completely gone. The one on the throttle body is completely gone. Engine bay is starting to get one whole color now. It's crazy how this engine bay started off blue, now it's white, and almost every component on this car is now black.
Because I'm not using one of the lines for the oil cap, I decided to plug it up with a 10AN fitting.
Distributor is one of the last things to do, and then I want to repaint it black. The problem is, there is a little pin on here that's difficult to get, so I had to order a toolkit on Amazon. I hope this doesn't break or strip. And the reason why I'm taking this part in the first place, because this thing leaks oil everywhere. Trying to make this Honda oil-free. After an hour later, I got the seal out. The seal is not even the same. That big seal, because it's a lot bigger, it doesn't want to seed in. Obviously, if we shove in a big one, it's going to want to leak even more.
Instead of ordering a new seal, I bought a new distributor, hoping that it would fix all our problems with the leaking. There were so many things that was going wrong off camera, just like the seal, the distributor pin, and I had to order a new tool. The brake light switch went out, which means the brake lights were constantly on when I changed out the brake booster. There were so many little things behind the scenes that I didn't record, and I was just so frustrated. It was really getting to the best of me. Unfortunately, it just got worse, and with the new distributor, it set the timing off on the car, which means it can't make the right amount of power when it needs to, and that could also make the engine go bye-bye. I was supposed to finish this engine bay in 48 hours, but it actually took a week. I have a flight to catch for SEMA, and unfortunately, I can't clean up the bay anymore because I ran out of time.
Yeah, a lot of labor, but it looks good.